Hello, I'm Catherine. Welcome to this YouTube channel. I'm going to share you today the food compatibilities, something that I learned with my hygienist practice. It has been a very helpful tool for me because it helped me to heal many problems with my IG tract, and it has been very useful in all these 18 years that I have been practicing, and I have been using these tools with my patients too. It has been very helpful with them, especially in disorders that are very serious. And I imagine that you could also benefit from it. There aren't yet any large studies with groups to see this with universities, but there has been practice for at least 200 years, and it has been evolving a lot through all that time. And these compatibilities have been also evolved with the practice. We have been using them to treat many disorders, as I mentioned, with success. So I want to share some of this with you. For example, we practice the food compatibility that differentiate the salads and fruit. We don't mix fruit with salads. For example, we are not going to add figs or pineapple to a salad or berries to a salad. Berries are actually taken very seriously in this practice. They have so many benefits for your health, and if you mix them in a bad way, then you won't benefit from it, and also you don't have all the nutrition from it than when you take them alone or in the morning, for example. So there are many compatibilities, and I'm going to mention the general compatibilities. One of them, as I mentioned before, it is this idea of not mixing fruit that are sweet with salads that are salty, for example. But there are some fruit that are included in the salad because they are the salad fruit, for example, cucumber and tomatoes that are ripe. Because here in Chile, from where I am, we have very sweet tomatoes, so we can mix them with the salad. But there are other places, for example in France, that they have these sour tomatoes that aren't very good with salad because they are too sour. So you need to consider that fact. And also avocados are considered a fruit too, but this is a fatty fruit, so it's a very different fruit than the sweet fruit, okay? And what other mixtures would benefit you? There is this idea of taking the first meal of the day, which is the breakfast, which breaks the fasting period, and for us usually that is the lunch. We don't tend to eat in the morning. We have many hours of fasting during morning and then the lunch. And we don't mix it like a fruit salad. We take first one fruit and then the other fruit, but they won't be mixed together, or just one type of fruit. Especially if you don't understand much about food compatibilities, you will feel better if you just choose one. And we tend to eat from sour to sweeter during the day, from lighter to heavier. So the fruit would be first option, and then for dinner we would have a salad with something else, which could be a carb or a protein or a fat. For example, could be potatoes or quinoa, which is something that is our favorite cereal because it's so alkaline and nutritious. And then it could be something like lentils or something like that. And the practice of hygienism or this this lifestyle is, it depends a lot on your age, on your activity, on the moment that you're experiencing. Because if you are pregnant or in a moment of high stress, you would need other stuff. You will need, for example, more salads. If you are elderly, you will need more fruit, lighter food like salads, especially fruit, and not much of the dense food, for example. But what other mixture would be good? For example, we avoid mixing carbs and proteins in the same meal. We just choose one type of dense carbohydrate. For example, we won't mix cereal and starch, for example, like potatoes. Like, we won't do that mixture either. We choose just one protein. We won't mix two proteins in one meal, and that it helps to make your digestion very light, and you actually end up having more energy, because those mixtures end up making you lose a lot of energy, because all the blood goes to your stomach, and it's very difficult to digest these two food items that requires different pH in the stomach, different time of digestion. So that's why we try to avoid to mix them together. There are some exceptions. If you are younger or a child, there are different exceptions, of course, and that's why I'm just mentioning the general terms. If you are curious and you want to know more, or you want to have something in more detail, you can contact me and I can write you a menu for your treatment and help you to discover these mixtures in more detail. Other mixtures we try to avoid is to mix water or liquid beverages with the food. We try to take the liquid in another moments, for example. And also we try to avoid, as I said, mixing many things, different things in one meal, and considering that there are vegetables that are lighter than others, because all this idea of the compatibilities is founded in or based in the idea that different concentrations of carbs or proteins or fats makes the digestion just more difficult. If you need to cook something, for example a potato or a pumpkin, then that will require more energy, and probably it wouldn't be a good idea to have that mixed with, for example, corn or something else, because corn is a cereal and also is dense in carbs. So that's why it's better to choose one. And in Chile, at least, we have the vegetarian salads coming with corn and, well, many vegetables, but corn, eggs, even orange sometimes, but stuff like that is not really a good mix, but you can choose for lighter vegetables and actually experience by yourself if it feels better or not. This idea of the food compatibilities have been developing more since Herbert Shelton wrote his books, mentioned this idea of the combination of food. Then we started to develop more and more since then, by having a more refined experience with nutrition and the act of feeding itself. Well, other thing that we discover is that it's not very good to mix sour fruit and sweet fruit, and it's better that you consume semi sour and semi sour fruit. For example, it could be strawberries and then, for example, pears, or it could be strawberries and then mangoes. But we won't mix, for example, kiwis and bananas, because those are very sour and then very sweet, and also a fruit very complex. There is banana. It's like the sweetest that you can go with fruit. So if you want to eat more than one, maybe you should consider that too and try how that feels to you. Also, there are some ideas about of course, the time that you eat. For example, it's better to avoid eating during night time, because you won't have the best reaction from your body trying to digest, because there is not much activity, digesting activity at the time, so you better avoid it too at that time of the day. Well, I hope these tips help you in your daily life, and hopefully in your diet and in your sensation of digestion, because I understand that it can be very, very heavy sometimes for some people to have even a simple meal. Probably you won't also avoid sour food with starch, like potatoes, for example, because that could influence a lot your digestion too. Well, have a great day, and I hope to see you in another video. Bye bye.